Today we're tackling one of the most misunderstood foods on the menu. It's the truth about tofu. And here to talk us through is registered dietitian, nutritionist Malina Malkani. Welcome to the show, Malina.
Thank you so much. Great to be back.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. All right, let's get right into it. Explain to our viewers, what is tofu really?
Yes. So tofu is actually a soybean curd, and it's made by taking some curdling condensed soy milk and then pressing it into blocks. And it comes in various textures and different levels of firmness. And the level of firmness depends on how long it's been pressed. So the longer it's pressed, the more liquid is released and the firmer the tofu. And there's so many different types of tofu, and it's really important to get the right tofu for the right recipe, or else you might end up with a product that's less than desirable.
Okay. Sounds good.
That makes sense. I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Now, Malina, what are some common misconceptions that we have about tofu?
One of them is that soy intake changes the levels of testosterone in men. And this is not true. It has not been found to be the case. Soy intake does not change the levels of testosterone in men, even in the highest levels of intake. Myth number 2 is another one that just continues to circulate no matter how much evidence we have to the contrary. This one's about babies and kids. People worry that soy is not safe for babies and kids. And part of that is because soy is among the top 9 most allergenic foods. And so people worry, well, if I give it to babies, is it going to cause a reaction? However, actually offering the top allergenic foods early and often during infancy can actually help reduce the risk of the development of food allergies.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, so myth number 3 has to do with fertility. People worry that soy causes infertility. And this is a myth that stems from a study that was looking at soy intake and infertility in sheep. But when you look at the human studies that are studying fertility, actually find that soy may have a positive effect on not just fertility, but also the likelihood of a successful live birth after IVF.
Again, misinformation. All right, Malina, there's also quite a bit of talk about soy and cancer. What's the truth here?
Part of the confusion stems from the fact that soy has a high concentration of isoflavones. And isoflavones are plant estrogens, also called phytoestrogens, very similar in chemical structure to that of human estrogens. So phytoestrogens can bind to those human estrogen receptors, but with weaker and then often very beneficial effects. But people hear the word phytoestrogen and they get very worried because they think maybe that soy intake is going to lead to some of those hormone-driven cancers like ovarian and breast and prostate. But the evidence does not support that claim. In fact, actually the opposite. Current evidence indicates that soy foods are safe for women who have had breast cancer, for women who are at risk for breast cancer. And I find this really interesting. The higher intakes of soy earlier on in life are actually associated with lower risk of breast cancer later on in life. So lots of really great reasons to feel good about eating soy.
Okay, so we've got the myths out of the way. Now, Malina, what are some of those nutritional benefits of eating tofu?
Tofu in particular is very nutrient dense. It's a great source of fiber. It's a great source of many of the micronutrients that we need for overall health, like iron and calcium and potassium, magnesium, B vitamins, many of the B vitamins, of course, those isoflavones that we talked about, and of course, plant-based protein. And about half a cup of firm tofu is going to have about 22 grams of that great plant-based protein. Wow. And that's according to the USDA.
Well, clearly, soy, good stuff.